Putin for decades deployed corruption and kleptocracy as tools to strengthen his grip on Russia's government and to project influence throughout the region. In the process, he decimated Russia's free press, ended all political opposition, and grew his personal fortune to what is thought to be the largest in the world. I say thought to be because Putin's wealth is hidden behind shell corporations and nestled in tax havens, far from view of the people he robs and oppresses. Along the way, he's cultivated a group of oligarchs who also serve him as they too feed off riches that belong to the Russian people. As in many criminal enterprises, oligarchs launder dirty money through legitimate businesses and assets.
Welcome back, patriots, to Right View Nation, the last line of defense in a world gone mad, where we call it like we see it, expose corruption, and back the true warriors for truth, law, and liberty. And today, we're going to talk about someone the mainstream media, the leftist elites, and the globalist oligarchs absolutely fear, Pam Bondi. You know someone is doing something right when the radical left, their activist media lapdogs, and their deep state cronies all start launching smear campaigns in unison. That's exactly what's happening to Pam Bondi, and I'm here to tell you why she's being attacked. Because she doesn't play their game. She doesn't sell out to globalist talking points. She doesn't kiss the ring of unelected bureaucrats.
Thank you, Chairman Wicker. As I noted on the Senate floor upon Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, kleptocracy is on the march in Eastern Europe. Vladimir Putin's corrupt regime fabricated a pretext to invade Ukraine, a sovereign and peaceful nation. Putin's war helps divert the Russian people from his festering corruption and misrule, as Alexei Navalny bravely exposed. Putin for decades deployed corruption and kleptocracy as tools to strengthen his grip on Russia's government and to project influence throughout the region. In the process, he decimated Russia's free press, ended all political opposition, and grew his personal fortune to what is thought to be the largest in the world. I say thought to be because Putin's wealth is hidden behind shell corporations and nestled in tax havens, far from view of the people he robs and oppresses. Along the way, he's cultivated a group of oligarchs who also serve him as they too feed off riches that belong to the Russian people. As in many criminal enterprises, oligarchs launder dirty money through legitimate businesses and assets. Recognizing this, previous U.S. administrations and their international partners created agile task forces to target corruption and the corrupt oligarchs. But in one of her first moves after being sworn in, Attorney General Bondi pulled down DOJ's Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative, which has recovered billions of dollars in ill-gotten gains from foreign kleptocrats, many Russian, many close to Putin. AG Bondi also inexplicably shut down DOJ's task force Kleptocapture, which was working to seize the assets of sanctioned Russian oligarchs who bankrolled the illegal invasion of Ukraine, and to provide those assets to the Ukrainians for rebuilding and defense. This a result from bipartisan work in the Senate. For a long time, I've warned that America is engaged in a clash of civilizations, with democracy and the free market on one side and kleptocracy and corruption on the other. We will prevail in this clash by pursuing a powerful value of a rule of law society, transparency. Kleptocrats and criminals seek the protection of America's rule of law and secure financial system to stow their illicit money. They don't want to hide what they stole in their own corrupt and crooked countries, but they need secrecy to avoid accountability. The Pandora Papers and the Panama Papers revealed webs of American shell corporations and trusts hiding dirty assets. They revealed professionals, wittingly or unwittingly, helping criminals and oligarchs hide dirty assets. Former Treasury Secretary Yellen said, "There's a good argument that the best place to hide and launder ill-gotten gains is actually the United States." My Bipartisan Corporate Transparency Act, enacted in 2020, was one beam of light into our own dark shell corporation corners. The law established a beneficial ownership register to sort out this anonymous shell company mess, helping law enforcement and national security officials identify who's behind webs of American shell companies. In March, the Treasury Department announced it would enforce the CTA's reporting rule only for foreign reporting companies, less than 1% of corporations and LLCs. The proposal was quickly panned by national security experts and law enforcement. Chairman Grassley and I joined in a bipartisan comment letter urging Treasury to rescind this misguided rule and fully implement the CTA as envisioned by Congress. It's not all doom and gloom. Treasury recently finalized proposals to shine light into the private investment advisor industry and into the residential real estate sector. The administration should also extend common sense transparency guidelines to commercial real estate purchases. Another bipartisan effort to combat kleptocrats is my Foreign Extortion Prevention Act, signed into law last Congress, co-led by several Helsinki commissioners, including co-chair Wilson, Senator Tillis, and the late Representative Jackson Lee. The law empowers the government to go after foreign officials that request or receive a bribe from a U.S. individual or corporation, or from any person while on U.S. territory. Our Bipartisan Enablers Act would crack down on the aiders and abettors of our enemies among American professionals, lawyers, accountants, and corporate formation agents, by requiring basic anti-money laundering guardrails that are commonplace in rule of law countries. To prevail in this clash, we should reconstitute Task Force Kleptocapture and the Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative and provide greater resources to the offices of DOJ, Treasury, and other federal agencies on the front lines against financial crime and international corruption. Finally, we need to work together with allied nations to close off hidey holes for oligarchs, bolster the rule of law, and increase access to justice in struggling jurisdictions. Kleptocrats, traffickers, and international criminals can be defeated. They don't need to be assisted. Free societies and the rule of law can win out. This is a national security matter, and the tools of transparency will secure our victory. I yield back to Chairman Wicker and thank him for his courtesy in allowing those remarks.
And she dares to prioritize American sovereignty, rule of law, and national security over woke virtue signaling and international appeasement. Let's talk facts. When Pam Bondi stepped in and took charge as Attorney General, she saw the rot. She saw bloated, ineffective programs like the so-called Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative and Task Force Kleptocapture. Programs that had been hijacked by political agendas, red tape, and international influence. And what did she do? She said and no more. She didn't just sit behind a desk and nod along while the DOJ became a playground for globalist interests. She took action. Now, the talking heads want you to believe she dismantled the fight against Russian oligarchs. Nonsense. What she did was cut out the fat and cleared the way for a smarter, more America-first approach to fighting corruption. One that doesn't bend over backwards for foreign governments while leaving American citizens in the dust. While the left worships international courts, international treaties, and international bureaucrats who don't give a damn about our Constitution, Pam Bondi stands on the side of our laws, our values, and our people. She understands something that too many career politicians forget. The job of American leadership is to protect Americans, not oligarchs, not foreign investors, not corrupt regimes hiding behind shell companies. And if that means tearing down programs that were poorly managed, politically weaponized, or no longer serving their purpose, so be it. That's called leadership. Let me break it down for you, patriots. The programs she cut were not magically solving global corruption. They were requiring massive amounts of funding with very little transparency, involving shady cooperation with international entities who don't share our values, becoming politicized under past administrations, used more as a PR stunt than a tool of justice. Pam Bondi took a stand to restructure, refocus, and reassert American legal authority. That's the kind of clarity we need more of in Washington. While the Biden administration is busy chasing photo ops and giving speeches about international cooperation, Pam Bondi is asking real questions. Where is this money going? Who is profiting from these programs? And how does this help the American worker, the American taxpayer, or American national security? Those questions scare the hell out of the establishment. That's why they want to silence her. Let's not forget who Pam Bondi is. This is the woman who went toe-to-toe with Big Pharma and held opioid manufacturers accountable, long before the media cared. She stood up for the victims of fraud, abuse, and regulatory failures, and she did it with facts, with law, and with real action. She's not a Twitter warrior. She's not a TikTok influencer in a pantsuit. She's a fighter, a constitutional conservative who believes in limited government, law enforcement, and actual justice, not political theater. And now that she's putting a spotlight on the failures of these globalist-aligned DOJ programs, they're coming after her? Please, we see through it. You know what scares the swamp? Independent conservatives with a spine. People like Pam Bondi don't ask permission from the establishment. They act on principle, They get results, and they refuse to bow. We need 1,000 more like her in Washington. Not these weak-kneed Republicans who shake in fear every time MSNBC runs a hit piece. Not these rhinos who talk tough on Twitter and then vote like Democrats behind closed doors. We need fighters, warriors, defenders of the Constitution. And Pam Bondi fits that mold perfectly. So to the liberal media, the globalist cheerleaders, and the political elites who think they can cancel Pam Bondi with their tired narratives and phony outrage, I've got news for you. She's not backing down. She doesn't owe you an explanation. She doesn't owe you a seat at the table. She owes her loyalty to the American people. And guess what? We've got her back. This is Right View Nation. We defend the truth. We defend the law. And we defend the warriors who put America first, like Pam Bondi. Hit that like button, comment below if you stand with Pam, and don't forget to subscribe. Because the fight is just beginning, and we're not going anywhere. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.